Get ready with me while I tell my birth story of my second baby, Jovie. The morning of May 4th, I woke up at like 6:30 with some cramps. Oh, rewind. You saw my previous TikTok. It's like joking about doing squats to put myself into labor because my husband had a golf tournament. It was a joke. And this is the next day. I woke up with some pretty intense cramping, but I didn't really know if it was go time, so I just told my husband, like, go ahead and go to your golf tournament and I'll call if I need you. He had to leave by 8:30 for his golf tournament, and I had my mom come over and help with my toddler because at that point, like, they were pretty consistent, like 8 to 10 minutes apart. They were painful but manageable. So my mom comes over, and about 2 hours later, 10:30, I get in the bath to see if they'd slow down. And I was in the bath for probably an hour and a half. My mom made me a smoothie while I was in there because I was like, I probably need to eat something even though I have zero appetite. So I stayed in the bath for an hour and a half. They were still consistent and got closer together. At this point, they were probably 5 to 7 minutes apart. So I got out of the bath, put my son down for a nap. It came back out. My mom was like, you probably need to call your doctor because you're huffing and puffing through these contractions. I called my doctor, can't get a hold of her, but the nurse was like, this is your second baby. You should probably just come in and get checked. At this point, they're still manageable, but they're 4 minutes apart. And so I'm just like, I don't want to go and labor at the hospital for hours. We get in the car around 12:30 to go to the hospital and arrive about 12:45. We arrive at the hospital, and when I get there, I am 4 centimeters dilated, and I was a little disappointed thinking that, you know, I've been laboring all morning, like, why am I not at least a 5 or 6 to be actually admitted? So they decide to have me walk laps around the hospital to see if I would progress more in the next hour. Once they checked me an hour later, I think it was like 2 p.m., I was progressed to 5 centimeters, so they went ahead and checked me in. They had also asked, like, if I wanted them to break my water to move things along quicker, because with my son, after my water broke, he was here in 45 minutes, and I was like, yes, I'd rather not be in this much pain for longer than I have to. A detail that I forgot to mention, I did have a natural birth, so no pain medication, no epidural. Same thing with my son, although I didn't really have a choice with him because it was precipitous, so I told myself this time I was going to try natural. At the time they broke my water, I think it was like probably 2:45, and that's when things got really intense. I was in a lot of pain at this point. I was vomiting and trying to find positions that helped me relax, and the only one that, like, I could even bear the pain in was I was on all fours and gripping the back of the hospital bed. And my husband's job during my labor was to apply ice cold rags to my forehead and my neck because I was literally profusely sweating. At this point, my contractions are super strong and I am dilating so fast that I am not really getting relief in between the contractions. I did start to feel some pressure to push, and the nurse checked me and I was at an 8. So they called my doctor in and was like, Dr. Hayes, you should probably get here quick because she is at 8 centimeters and still natural. Dr. Hayes got there, and as soon as she got there, I was like, I need to push. I feel pressure. I explained this on my Instagram, but, like, for me, I don't really have to push my babies out. Like, my body just, like, ejects them. There is no counting to 10 and bearing down to push these babies out. So once I felt the pressure, literally she was crowning already. And my doctor was like, oh, holy shit, you really do have to push. She flipped me over my back really quickly and threw my legs up in the stirrups. And with this birth, it was different during the pushing time because they made me, like, pace it so that I wouldn't tear. I still tore, but the pacing of the pushing was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do in my entire life because I just wanted, like, her out of me and for the whole thing to be over. She came out in probably like 4 pushes, and like I said, pushes that she was honestly just like relaxing my body so that she could come out on her own. I did end up tearing. It was like a 2nd degree tear. It was a crazy experience because I truly wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go through natural labor again or what my second labor was going to be like because my first one was just so crazy. I swear what put me into labor were those few squats that I was just doing as a joke. Sumo squats will freaking get you, man. They broke my water at 2:45 and she was born at 3:37. It was super quick. Not easy by any means. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. If you are motivated to do natural birth, you will get through it. It is all mental. You need to say some prayers. The Lord was with me in that room. I was in labor and delivery room number 7. So I know he was there. I was blasting my worship music. If you set your mind to something, you can do it. So it was a crazy day, but truly I could not have asked for anything better. I wanted to go into labor during the day so I didn't have to leave my son in the middle of the night because we do co-sleep. So I just knew like if I left him in the middle of the night, he would be so confused and sad. Literally, we left during his nap time. Not have been a more perfect scenario. And that's exactly what I prayed for. The power of prayer is just so amazing. That is my sweet birth story with my baby girl, Jovie.